It may take us a little bit to find out who the next head coach of the Phoenix Suns is, but we will at some point have a new person that is on the bench making those in-game decisions for this basketball team. And before they get to those in-game decisions, they are going to have to make a pretty sizable decision about what this roster is going to look like. And that head coach is certainly going to have a say in the makeup of this roster moving forward. And we touched on this a little bit yesterday. And I'm playing, this is everybody's favorite game. I'm playing a little sound roulette here because the sound screen in front of me doesn't have the titles of these audio clips. So I'm just going based off of memory. But we played some Chris Haynes for you the other day during his Haynes Briefs, talking about the Phoenix Suns, their coaching pursuits, what the new roster is going to look like. And at one point, he talked about how the new coach might have a say in Kevin Durant's future. So everybody, cross your fingers, and let's hope that I hit the right cut here.
Now, the coach will have some impact on what happens with Kevin Durant. And the reason why I say that is this. It is very likely that Kevin Durant will be moved this summer. That is likely. However, if the Suns can find a coach that they're looking for, the coach that fits their identity, a coach that's going to fit the culture that they're trying to build, right? A grinded out coach, hard-nosed, somebody who can communicate effectively to the players. If they can find that coach and find a coach that is largely respected by the players in the league, there can be a possibility in which Kevin Durant is still a member of the Suns going into the 25-26 season.
Should that be the case? Should the head coach that they bring in, whoever that person may be, should that coach have a say in whether or not Kevin Durant stays or goes? Normally, I want to include my head coach in this process. I want to include my head coach in these types of decisions. I want it to be a collaborative effort. I want the front office. I want the scouting department. I want the coaches. I want this to be a unified, everybody has a seat at the table. I want to hear from the players, and Devin Booker can be the voice of those players. That is what normally I would want in a situation like this. I want it to be collaborative. I want everybody to share their opinions. I want to make sure that we look at this from every possible angle so that we make the right decision. I'm sorry, but this is too important of a decision to allow somebody who will just be in the building for a couple of weeks or months to have a say over Kevin Durant's future when the only way out of this mess for the Phoenix Suns is by trading Kevin Durant. If you are going to hire a head coach, and because this conversation, this question is going to come up in the interview. During the interview process, when Matt Ishbia, when whatever the front office looks like, and they're interviewing these coaching candidates, this is going to be a topic. They are going to ask these coaches what they think of the roster. Are they okay if this roster doesn't include Kevin Durant? And I'm sure there will be some coaches who will try to make the case for keeping Kevin Durant, for trying to make it work with Devin Booker and Kevin Durant and giving it one more go. You, under zero circumstances as an organization, can allow that to occur. And if that disqualifies a candidate because they are steadfast in wanting to keep Kevin Durant, then so be it. They are not the right fit for this organization. You can't do this. Your only way out of this mess, and it is a mess. Last year was a mess. This entire era of Suns basketball has been a complete and unmitigated disaster. Your only way out, your only golden ticket is to trade Kevin Durant. Because you're not moving Devin Booker. You can't move Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal's not going to play basketball for you anymore, but you can't move him and free up that money. I don't think that's going to happen. So your only way to lower your tax bill, to get under the second apron, to align with the goals. Matt Ishbia stood in front of us all, or sat in front of us all, and took questions and answered the media. And you know what he said? He said, changes are coming. He said, we're going to do things differently. We're going to have a new identity. That identity is going to be predicated on defense and grit and determination and intensity and all of those words. He said all of those things. He also said that the Phoenix Suns are not going to be the highest payroll in the NBA. Well, how do you get to that point? How do you get to a place where all of those things are true? Where you have a new identity, where that identity includes all of those buzzwords. How do you get to a place where you are no longer a second apron team and you don't have the highest payroll in the NBA? There's one path, and that path is trading Kevin Durant. And so I'm sorry, as an organization, I am making it known now ahead of time, I'm trading Kevin Durant. I am setting that on the table for any of the coaching candidates that I interview. Listen, don't get too excited about the idea of coaching Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. It's not happening. We are moving on from KD this summer. We are starting with a clean slate, and that clean slate is around Devin Booker. It is not around Kevin Durant. I am not allowing a coach that I'm going to potentially hire upend my entire offseason plans. Because I'll ask producer Evan this question. When you listened to Matt Ishbia in his end of season press conference, did you get the indication that Kevin Durant was going to be here? Did you get the indication that the Phoenix Suns and their offseason plans included keeping KD and building around him and Devin Booker? Did you get that feeling?
There was no feeling that they were going to keep Kevin Durant.
You got zero indication from Matt in that end of year press conference that Kevin Durant was a part of this future. Now, he didn't come outright and say, hey, we're trading Kevin Durant. You would never do that, but he didn't come out and say that. But everything from a vibe perspective pointed you in the direction of we are moving on from KD this summer. So if they pivoted back and KD was on this team next season, it's because they allowed themselves to be influenced during this coaching candidate process. That's a bad process.
I will tell you my idea of why not have these guys come in for an interview and ask them what they would do. And there's your answer. If it starts with moving Kevin Durant, then you have a real candidate. If it doesn't, then you don't have a real candidate.
Exactly. This is going to come up in the interview process as a topic of conversation. And I think anybody who walks into that process with the expectation that KD is on this roster next season, I think this is going to sound weird to say, I think they're immediately disqualified as a candidate. This offseason has to be about a complete reset. And that complete reset includes moving on from Kevin Durant. I'm sorry, it just does.